Hey, what's up, everybody? Greg J here. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. Good morning. Hope everything is going well. Hope you're staying peaceful in these strenuous times. So many things are going on all over the country, all over the world. And Coffee Conversations with Greg J is where we have culturally relevant conversations from a decidedly global perspective on a variety of topics. Today, I want to talk about this book here. Got this book, Liberia to the United States. You know, we're always building bridges of music, arts, and culture with Africa and African Americans. And, it's really interesting. A friend of mine called me from South Africa the other day, and she was talking about how, in Africa, Africans are no longer standing up for the colonial dictates, throwing off the shackles. He said Africa wants to do for self. And I was really encouraged to hear her speak of that, especially being right there on the motherland. And, we've had many of our friends and family here on Coffee Conversations with Greg J to share with us knowledge, to share with us information so that we can gain an understanding and continue to support and build this bridge and be diasporic in the struggle of these days. So yeah, today, Liberia to America. My good friend Gwen Austin, author, businesswoman, all around good person. She's here.
Mhm.
Gwen, good morning.
Good morning, Greg. How are you this
Yes,
morning?
yes. Gwen Austin is a real estate mogul. So if you ever want to, get your home or whatever, make sure you reach out to Gwen so she can hook you up and make things happen. And she's just a beautiful soul. Known her for many years, and she's written a book about her journey from Liberia. And I really have enjoyed reading it and very, very interesting. So tell the people, Gwen, a little bit about yourself and give us the headlines about your book and what you want to impart to the community through your writings.
Okay, well, was I wanted to write my book because, myself, I've been living in America for how many years now? It's so long. I've been, living here since I moved here from Africa for for a better life, for a better education, and all that stuff, because it was like important to get an education, which my father always told me. I grew up in Liberia, finished high school, and then after that, I wanted to go on, continue my education. So I decided the United States was the best opportunity to come to get better and be better and do stuff. So my book, I decided to write it after during 2020, during the lockdown, because there was something in my mind about how they treated how immigrants were being looked at and treated in this African, especially immigrant from Africa. I don't like the way it was being, portrayed in the, to the public, So I said, well, I wanted to tell my story because I think I came here with very well good mind. I'm open mind to do whatever I could do to get a better life, better education. Because my father always telling me, always get a good education because no one can take that away from you. So during the lockdown period, I was like, I don't like the way I'm hearing about the administration, how they were talking about how, African was like not a good place. They talk really negative about
I'll
Africa.
say it for you. They call them shithole countries.
Pardon me?
He called them shithole countries.
Exactly. Yes, that's
Yeah,
why that's really got to be what you call Africa, the shithole countries,
yeah.
and they don't know. A lot of people don't know that Africa is a beautiful place and it's a place to be able to. I mean, the country is really the continent is rich. Africa is the second
Mhm.
largest continent in the world, and there's a lot in Africa that people have come and take advantage of. Not the white man, but basically the Caucasian white people. So I wanted to tell my story because I felt like I came here with nothing, barely nothing, like I said, or a few dollars in my pocket, and to and I was able to accomplish a lot by working hard, being focused, being determined to be something in life, to be somebody in life, and not depend on anybody, but to depend on myself. And I was always raised that way. So don't depend on anybody to take care of you. Make sure you take care of yourself. So, I went through a lot up and down, obstacle, got a job, work. I always worked and took care of myself. I never went for any free handout. I didn't want to get in a handout like, they were doing in this country. And I said I would work, and I did. And I was blessed enough to be able to work with different odd jobs and stuff, and went to school, went to college while, and I work in the daytime, and being able to accomplish what I felt what I wanted to accomplish. And my family was very important to me. So when I came over here, I want to make sure my mom and my other sibling who was in Liberia and was able to get the help from me while I was here and come over eventually. They did. So we work. I was able to get into working, started in banking, which was very, good for me to be able to learn a lot about the banking system and work as started from the lower level and work my way up to the higher level to management and all that stuff in banking. So I worked for several banks and were able to move on and I got my degree in business. I decided I was going to do, become a business person, business woman, because I thought that was an easy, better way to go. And after working in banking for about 15 years, 10, 15 years, I decided I wanted to go to, I couldn't make the kind of living that I wanted to make by just working in a job. So I looked for a way to get, and real estate came up in my mind that I found out that you can build generational wealth by, investing in real estate. And that's the way to do, to be able to do, say if you wasn't born with that, in your family. So what I did is I started working and learning the real estate field, did everything that I could to get into to be, to get in a position to be able to become a real estate owner, to own real estate. I started buying it at a young age of in the early 80s. That was the best time to buy real estate because the property value was, it was low. I could afford it. I started buying the first one and, it just kept going on and buying it and saw the opportunity to buy, sold some, we after I bought a property and I saw it was the value went up, and some of them I flipped them, I sell them. Me and my husband, we were able to do that, and so just moving on and getting better, and I found success because I was able to invest and rent, also investment, real estate investment. I was able to get in that part, and I was able to do that in a good way while I was able to make money. And, I sold property, kept some, invested in my property, rented some out. And then I decided that real estate was going to be the field. And and I've been very successful in it because I bought different, I can't say the exact amount, but the property value that I bought went up to in the millions. And that was very, encouraging to keep doing it. And so I became successful in real estate, and I went into financing also, mortgage financing, which was very good because I love doing it. So I was able to help people, especially in our community, the South LA community. That's why I work most of my time and did most of my business, and were able to. I was able to help open. Well, first I was able to open my own real estate company, Point of View International, after learning all what I could do, and it was very, I was able to a good make good out of it, and basically getting people homes, helping them, people who work closely with my clients, going out there, and it was kind of a little bit harder for starting, but I was persistent, and I decided I was going to keep doing it because I could see that it was a benefit. So I always helping people And, I think overall in my career, I've been able to get over, I would say a lot of people bought their homes. I was able to help them with the financing and with the home, the purchase. So as a real estate broker, I became a broker. I decided to become a broker. So I got
Mm,
the in the early 90s, I got my broker license and I was able to open an office on Wilshire Boulevard, important business district. I always wanted to work there. And that was very good too because I did very well there, bringing my sister and my daughter to work with me there, and they were very good, and we were very
sure,
successful. Yeah, so
sure,
um, I decided to buy a home, of course, and I was able to buy a home and buy another home and buy another home and then move up, and that's how I was able to get to Ladera Heights, and
sure.
we decided to build a house, rebuild the house that I'm living in now, me and my husband, MC. And so far with hard work and everything, I was able to do it, and I'm glad and I'm happy I was able to do that because I was able to help other family members to come over here for a better life, and it's been good
Mm.
all along, except for now, going on. But I still feel like it was a good decision to come to America. And in my book, I wanted to let most African American who I meet and stuff didn't know about the history of Liberia. Because they always told when I say, well, when they ask me, where you from? I said, like, because they detect the accent. So they say, where you from?
Right.
I said, from Liberia. And a lot of them thought it was Nigeria because they did the similarity with the name. So I said, let me write a book about Liberia because a lot of people didn't know the history of Liberia.
All right. Let's
The
let's
history
dive
of
into that for just a hot second. But before we go there, I did just want a fascinating story, life story, and everything. And so you've been in America for a while. And
yes,
one thing
long
that we are all about with our platforms is really want to dispel myths about
time.
Africa. And,
Right.
as we see in America, sometimes there's a chasm between African Americans and continental Africans. What do
Mhm.
you think why do you think this chasm exists? And what are your thoughts, real quickly, of
Mhm.
how we can bridge that gap and dispel myths about one another so that we can be more united?
I think basically how we can do it is people make people more aware of Africa, especially African American, and let them know that when Africa really appreciate people coming, African American especially coming to Liberia. I mean coming to Liberia, and they welcome our brothers and sisters from West the U.S. because we feel that this Liberia was funded by African free slaves that went back and settled there, and they made it a home. They made it a home. They bought, probably brought a lot of the Western life of living, style of living to Liberia, because it were always just the native, the indigenous people who was there, and it was a big it was a small piece of land. Liberia is very small, but they have a lot of people with African American history there. So I think we're just letting people know about, because people who have read my book and I mentioned about how Liberia was started, they were surprised. I didn't know. They said, Gwen, I didn't know that. I said, yeah. I wanted to let more people get involved in Africa. And I think I like the fact that now more and more people becoming aware and want to go to Africa, because I'm reading story about some of them going to Ghana and South Africa and East Africa too, and settling there. So I think it's just letting people know, be aware of where you are, of who you are and where you are, to be able to bring African American and Africa together, Africans. So I think we just need to be more aware of what we need to do to be able to love our country and our people and bring them together. And I try to do that as much as I can to help people, to let them know that we will welcome African American. Because I already had this myth about, African don't like African Americans. And I said, that's not true. Because every one of them that I know of growing up there, even growing up back in the day in the 60s. And so, and a few American came there, moved there, like the basketball player, Russell, what his name, Bill Russell. He came there, some other Africa, I can't remember them, but they came there, they bought property and they were welcomed by the government, the people. And so that's always, if you go to Africa or anybody, I think you would be welcome there as an African American. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We are all about that, trying to organize trips to go so that people can see Africa for
exactly.
themselves and
Right.
taste the food and enjoy the people and feel
Mhm.
free. You know what I'm saying? Once you
Yes.
step onto the soil, brothers
Hmm.
and sisters, you'll certainly feel free, free, free. Now, Gwen, you've been here a long time. Hey, before I say this, I don't know if you knew this, but I worked in the bank too.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in the mortgage division of First Interstate Bank,
Oh,
and
okay.
I ran the foreclosure department.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
I went for
So
Bank of America and Wells Fargo and other banks, other big banks. All that.
yeah, nice, nice stuff, nice stuff. Gwen, when we speak about the history, it's Black History Month and everything, and we know that, Liberia was founded by American slaves because in those days, America was trying to figure out what to do with its Black people. It was it's the
Mhm.
Negro problem, and so,
Right.
one of the solutions that they offered was to have slaves go over to Liberia and found Liberia and create their own country and everything. And now fast forward to now, you're hearing, as you mentioned, a lot of African Americans, repatriating to Africa. And I had a Ghanaian friend of mine ask me, why do so many African Americans want to go to Africa? Everything is good here in America. It's like, why do they want to go to Africa?
Hmm.
Do you have the same sentiment, or are like, why wouldn't we want to go to Africa? Let me just ask that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think um, going to Africa, they treat African American like royalty, really, and they can do well or even better there because the Africans are to welcome them in open arm. So
Hmm.
I don't understand why they wouldn't want to go there. And yeah, because of what's going on in this country, there's so much racism and still going on today against African and Black African American. I don't see why they wouldn't want to go there because they will be welcome. And now even country like Ghana and stuff like that, they're offering them free land to build, their own properties and their own homes. And it's the cost of living there is so much lower than
Hmm.
living here. And you don't have to have a lot of money to live well there or make a lot of money because the cost of living is very lower than here. So I would say, yeah, if you can go there, people can build beautiful homes there and live good and comfortable and don't have to worry about what's going on in this country.
Hmm.
And you know how they treat African American because when they go there, they treat it like royalty. That's how you
Hmm.
treat them. You've been there before, and you know how you've been treated. They welcome you, and
And
so I don't see why we ask why you want to go to Africa. Because to me, I would say you should go to Africa. I would encourage them, in the African American that I meet, because like I was saying, when the country was founded, it was tough on the free slaves. So when they settled in Liberia, it was tough because the native were afraid. There were so many different languages that they spoke. They didn't understand each other. There was a lot of confusion. But so they brought English. That's how English became the major language in Liberia. Because before
mm,
the free slaves, before the slaves went back there, settle, nobody could speak English there. It was just the natives, the indigenous people who did, the ground, who were born there and lived there, the culture people. So
mm,
they are happy to learn English. I mean, even though some of them still don't know it, depending on what part of the country, because it's so many different languages. We call them dialects. So many different dialects in the different part of the country that unless you speak English, learn English, it would be hard to communicate with certain people in different part of the country. Yeah, it's small, but it's have a lot of different counties where they have all these different languages. So yeah, I would encourage people because, like I said, it's the country is good, it's rich with a lot of resources that you can benefit from, which the white people have taken from that country, from a lot of from Africa, period, like the precious, diamond, golds, and all that stuff. And African went through a lot to keep the culture, the resources, but they were, like rubber, iron ore, all that stuff was being taken out of Liberia and brought here to different part of Europe and all that stuff about. So it's just sad how Africa have been through a lot. African have been through a lot with the people coming and taking everything, taking as much as they can. And we need to that need to be stopped. African need to become more self-sufficient. That's what I would say in Africa. We need to become more self-sufficient. They got our own product, grow out. Well, right now they do grow their own food and all that stuff, and we eat a lot of unprocessed food. Eating processed food don't help you anyway. So we eat natural food. Yeah, and from the ocean, a lot of fresh fish. That's how we grew up on fish and all that stuff fresh from the ocean because we're right next to the Atlantic Ocean.
Right next to the ocean, that's right.
Yeah, we have that pleasure of the Atlantic Ocean, which is very good. Yeah, you have fishermen, they fish for their food, they work and they grow their food. And, so most of the food that we eat in Liberia are food that are produced right there. Not imported. Yeah, they do have some import, but not that much. Yeah. So yeah.
Let me ask you, we hearing so much. What we've been trying to amplify the voice of the Black immigrant here, because in the news we're hearing so much about immigration, and I think people always maybe will focus on immigrants coming from Central America, but we can also see prejudices and biases against immigrants who come from the diaspora. We had Sister Pamela Anchang from the Immigrant Magazine on to kind of talk about the whole specter of, mass deportation and all that whole thing. As someone who has established deep roots here in America, when you hear this news, when you hear this stuff about mass deportation, all the stuff we're hearing coming from the Trump administration, what are your thoughts and what do you share among your peers in the African community that are here about this rhetoric that we're hearing coming from Trump?
Oh yeah, we all very excited about it, that, and we hope that. Well, of course, nobody that I know voted for him, but I always say that why these people voted for him to get reelected because he wasn't showing it from the first election. From the first 4 years there, he wasn't a good president at all. And now for him to be back there. So it's very scary, and we hope and pray that all this mass deportation and stuff going from people, the grabbing people, and we're hoping that, I know the people from South America are being the one that really being pushed back in Mexico and stuff, but I don't see too many of African being, illegally that, being, because you have to go through all this process to come from Africa. To come over here. You have to get a green card and you have to get permission to come, you have to go through the whole process. Coming from almost any part of Africa, you can't just cross the, walk and come across the border and all that stuff. You hardly see any African going that way. Coming here that way. They fly, they have to come, plane or ship or whatever. But we don't have a lot of that issue. It's about them, being taken out of, pushing out of here, mass. Because the one who came, they came on a special visa to be after the war and stuff. That's what most of them came recently. In the last 20 years, I would say 15 years, they were able to come. They got permission from the immigration, from the embassy to come over here. So, yeah, there are very few, I would think, African here that's here illegally. So most of the time we say, well, we're not afraid of that deportation because we didn't come in as non-immigrant. So it's heartbreaking just dealing with seeing what's going on now. But we just got to keep praying, and that's what we believe in, praying that things will get better. and that would be able to get some protection. Everybody would be people who trying to leave. I know there's a lot of protesting out there now. I noticed about the mass deportation that this Trump man is doing, and these people, and then the lies about how immigration are criminals and stuff. That's just a big. I'm not immigrant. Immigrants are criminals. That is not right. You don't hear of any immigrant come here and become criminals especially from Africa, which will come and work hard and try to be a good citizen and don't get into no trouble and doing stuff like that. So you won't be able to see that in an African that I know of becoming criminal, harming anybody or any that stuff. They live their life and they try to be as comfortable. They try their best to be a good citizen, a good person. Yeah. So I don't think that's something we just really surprised about seeing what's going on because it's a completely different country now from when I came back here in the 70s, came over here in the 70s and the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. It's just the last, I would say 10 years or so, it have done a big flip that is just really difficult to really understand. And a lot of people say they want to go back. I'm thinking I'll go back often, but I want to, because I have such roots in here and family and stuff.
Yeah.
It would be hard to just get up and move back, but I want to keep my connection with my country and with Africa. Keep that going.
Yeah.
Travel and stuff there.
Yeah.
And we're finding more
I
and more.
feel the same way there. But at the same time, there was like when it's not Africa, but still the diaspora. Like remember where they were saying that the Haitians in Springfield, Ohio were eating cats and dogs and all that. Oh my goodness.
That was crazy. That was that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Wow.
Wow. I just feel like we had nothing but lunatic. It was so heartbreaking to see this man win. And I think it's more to it than he didn't outright win. I think it was just a big conspiracy going on that caused the vote. My sister said she think AI was responsible. AI has something to do with this election, because I just can't understand and see how so many people could vote for him and make him win. It didn't. Plus, they bought the election with Elon Musk. He stuck with him, putting all that money in his election, but in his campaign, but. I don't think it was a fair election, to tell you the truth. And most people I know feel the same way. They don't feel if something went on in this country, and they will find out in those machines, counting those machines. It was AI, and they gave the vote to the wrong person instead of to the other opposite. So it was just shocking, really shocking that he won. It took me.
It's interesting that you bring that up. Because I asked Pamela Anchang this same question I'm about to ask you, because I've been hearing a lot of media, Black American media, saying that they felt that the African immigrants voted for Trump. And so I was going to ask you, I'm hearing you say that, hey, we didn't vote for him anyway. And that's what Pamela said. So why is it that people like Roland Martin, and then there's others out across, media channels say, hey, my African brothers and sisters, you should not vote for him. Why did you vote for him? All of this here, they think that the African community, the continental African community, voted for Trump in the majority. And I just haven't seen that. I can tell you, I'm hearing you, I'm hearing Pamela Anchang. I worked with, I did a project during the election season with the founder of, it's called the League of Minority Voters. The founder and president his name is Promise King. And Promise, he lives in Oregon, but he is from Nigeria. And he too has been here a long time and everything. He was not voting for Trump. If I get him on here, he's going to let you know about Donald Trump, I just haven't seen it for myself, but I have heard media hosts say that.
Yeah, I don't understand how they got that. I don't understand how they got that, because why they said that, because what proof do they have? What do they have to say that most African voted for him? No. No,
Yeah,
I disagree with that strongly. The ones I know
yeah,
of,
yeah.
what I know of, I would say no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you know what, to be honest with you, you don't know what people did once they get in the voting booth.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Nobody
I
knows.
do believe I think a lot of African Americans may talk that stuff on the outside, but when they got in there, they voted for him. That's what I feel.
Uh-huh. You
Yeah,
think so,
yeah.
huh?
I
Yeah,
know a
but
lot of young people voted for
mhm.
him too, because I was hearing some young black males talking about they wanted to vote for Trump just because um, well, they had a variety of reasons. One was
Which is
the main one
stupid.
was the immigration piece. They wanted to get rid of Mexicans or something, but it
That's
was,
stupid.
you know,
Mhm.
misguided thoughts. You
Misguided,
know.
very
Mhm,
misguided. Yeah, I don't
mhm,
understand that. But like I said,
yeah.
anyone who I have talked to that ever said they voted for him, yeah, I don't even talk to this type of people that I know
Yeah.
of. Most of the people I
Yeah.
know, my family and friends and people we know, they did not vote for him. They did not want him to win. The
Sure.
fact that he's
Sure.
been put our democracy in peril now, that was very big for us. We didn't want to lose
Yes.
our freedom, and all that stuff. And he's still trying to do it, but it's not going to work because I said this country is too big for one person, well, group of people, whatever, to try to take it over. It can't happen. Dictatorship happen
Yeah.
in countries like Russia and those other, communist countries, smaller country inside America, where you can take over the government like that. The federal government in this country is too huge because you have all these different states that are not agreeing, that will not let that happen. So I kind of have a confidence that he is not going to be able to take over this country, even though he's trying. They're trying to do it. And like I said, listen to
You're
what.
trying to turn it back to the days of when my daddy was coming up, in my dad's day. He's
Mhm.
trying to turn it back, to when it
Yeah, go
was
back all to the
in
to
the
the 50s.
60s
He's
and
trying to take this
50s.
country backwards. And we can't go
Yeah.
backward. We got to go forward. It was very disappointing that we didn't win. You know,
Yeah.
I've been a
Yeah.
Democrat since I came in this country and were able to become a citizen and vote, which were in the 90s. I would never go with a Republican because when I saw the party, I wrote in my book that, I researched the party and what they stood for, the Democrat and the Republican, two major parties. And I decided I was going to go with the Democrat. And I've been a lifelong Democrat since the first time I voted. And because I felt like based on the two party, the conservative and the liberal party, that the Democrats had the best to offer. I think about people, ordinary American, the poor, the middle class. I think about them. I feel for them, and I don't want to see them suffering. And this the aids that they help. The help that it gave the people from the Democratic side, politics, they always look out for the American people. With the Republican, they're always for self. They don't care about other
Yeah.
people. And then they put this
Yeah.
man in there, which will tell you that he's definitely for himself. He don't care about anybody.
Yeah.
And he say it out
Yeah.
loud, but they still don't. Oh, he just no. You gotta believe what he's saying. Look what he do, what he said. You gotta believe it.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
no, they think, oh, he's just playing my fault.
Yeah.
Playing, no,
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
playing. He's serious about it. You know, couldn't stand him
Mhm.
from day one.
Well, Gwen, I love this conversation having, and I love your consciousness and your awareness and your global view. And I
Mhm.
know that you mentioned you saw how people were protesting, and you had an event at your home the other day where we were raising funds for schools that you support. And while we were there, they were having massive protests on the freeway. They shut down the freeway while we were at your house. I don't know if you saw
Really?
that on the news or not. Huh?
Oh, I didn't see. I didn't put the TV on for a while. No, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, they shut down the freeway. Thousands of people uh, protesting the immigration policy shut down the
Yeah, I saw that
freeway.
on the news. Yeah, I saw that later
Yeah,
on. Yeah, I saw that the next day.
yeah,
Yeah, people should be out there protesting. Yeah, I don't know. I
yeah,
hope
yeah.
it make a difference.
I
I
hope
hope
so
it.
too. We'll see in the long run. But I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you about the schools that you support. I mean, I really think it's very admirable that you give back
Mm-hmm.
to the schools. And you mentioned a huge number of students that you're taking care of the other day. And I was like, holy moly, there's a lot of
Yeah,
kids that you're supporting and everything. So, talk about the schools that you are supporting in Liberia.
yeah, yeah. The schools are basically the schools that we support is are in rural area. They're not right in the city because it's one of the cities, the people who can afford it. They'll send their
Yeah.
kids because the fact that Liberia have no free education for children like here from up to high school, no free education. The parents have to pay, like our father, like my father, coming from a big family, he's paid for all of us to go to school. He had to work and pay our tuition every year to go to school to learn. And I really appreciate it. I was so blessed. I felt so blessed with the fact that I came from a family and my father was concerned about us being educated and stuff. And having an education was very important. So these schools, some of them are sponsored by our family, because we do have a big family in that's from here and like in Liberia, and we raise money through different sources because we know these children, their family they are living in poverty. I'm saying real serious poverty. Sometimes they can't even get a meal, they said, a day. So we raise money for 4 schools. I think one, yeah, my friend who was here talking, why she told you how she talked about how she started the school, but it's in a rural area where the government don't do no help. There's no help from nowhere unless the people, the private citizen can help. So we do have, I think it's 3. I have family members like who have a preschool and kindergarten, and I have another family member with a group of family members that's supporting elementary school and high school in this area called Clay Ashland. The area is where our ancestors settled in Liberia. A bunch of our ancestors built that area up in Clay Ashland. But there's so many the people who's doing okay, but there are people who not doing well at all because of the poverty. They can't go, they can get a job, they can work. So the family, they have to go and try to sell something in the street, just whatever, and the income level is so low. They can make, they said, well, they make $5 or so a day. It's just ridiculous how the poverty is so high there. And we know these parents cannot afford to send the kids to school. So we do have these schools set up that they can go. We even have the building, help with the building of the schools and all that stuff. But the children, they are so eager to learn. And they only charge, the school, in order to take care of a child, to take a child there, keep a child coming to school for a year, it's only $10 a month and $120 a year. So we sponsor them by sending $120 a year per child to be able to continue in school. And you have to keep doing that until they finish and graduate. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of children who need that. Because my cousin, who is one of the teacher there, and her sister is a teacher who running the school, they told me, they said sometimes they have to have somebody there preparing food for the kids every day to eat, because she said sometimes they don't even get a meal. If they don't come to school, they don't eat a meal. And they walk 2 to 3 miles sometimes just to get to school. It was so heartbreaking. I went and saw it myself, so I know this is true. So I
Wow.
said, well, I gotta do whatever I can, to when I started the organization, the 10 Inc., the Entrepreneur Networking, and I started it like in 2004, because when I decided that I wanted to, I was feeling I could give back. I was doing very well financially and growing. I said, well, I want to give back because I knew they needed it there. There always been this poverty. So we started the organization, our 10 Inc., with my friends and family members. So every year we try to raise money, and we try to put some of our own money there to send it to sponsor as many kids as we can, to feed them, and they buy the uniform. They have to wear uniform to school. So that money we send, it goes for a lot. And these kids are so, so appreciative of what we're doing. They want to learn. They are the future of the country. And I'm like, if these kids don't learn and, stay healthy and alive, what's going to happen to the country? Even though there's other people, people who well off, I would say there's a lot of corruption. There's some people taking money, but taking it in there, which I don't like. But the they do have, there are people that work, and they have private sector there that can afford to send their children to school. Like my father worked for a company that were owned by a European country called Liberia Mining Company. So he was able to work and had a good job and take care of his family. Thank he and people like him. He was educated too. My father was a lawyer. So that, was okay. We grew up very well. And it's so different now from how we grew up. How we're able to grow up in Liberia. We're not the poverty and stuff. You have the have and the have not. That's what I would say. You have two group of people, the have and the have not in Liberia. And the have not is what we heard Fred want to see get educated, and we never know. I feel like they're going to be the future of the country, these children, because they're going to stay there. Right now, we have so many so many people who in power, who corrupt. There's so much corruption, take money from the government, the people, and all that stuff. And it's just not, it rarely gets to me, but I'm trying to do what I can to help these children. So that's what we do. With 4 schools, we help. We help
4
support.
schools.
4,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Good
But we're
work.
trying to make it better. I'm trying to get some grant writing going now to support more children in these schools. Yeah, so we're still working at it. That's why when I have the fundraiser, all the money I tell that people know goes to the children. Every time we raise, go to the children.
Nice.
Organization to help, yeah.
Well, Gwen Austin, so good for you to come through and sip some Columbusong Coffee Company premium coffee with me here. Any last words you want to say to the people? And also just share with me how we can contact you if we want to get the book, if we want to interact with you and learn more about your schools.
Well, what I want to say is, they can contact me through my email. I know you said email or something.
Sure, email, website, however, whatever the best contact point is.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have a website there for the organization where you can go online on it's 10inc TENINC.org. That's the website we have built for the school. And you can go on and you see a lot about what's going on, what we got. And then also you can click a button if you want to donate. To tell you can click a button and you want to donate to the organization to help these children. And it tell you about what we're doing also. So you will see pictures of the children and you can donate and it goes straight to our PayPal account. So that's one way. And another way you can contact me is people don't like to email that much. So I would say you can always call me on my cell phone. Okay. Yeah. And then we have these fundraisers and we try to send them out to people to support. So we like people to support our fundraiser because every time they donate goes to our organization, go to the children. Yeah. And I also want to keep it going. We're trying to get a big grant writing program from some of these big organizations, foundation, to send money. We're working with that now. I have someone who working to do an international grant for me, for the company.
Nice.
Yeah, for the organization. So we appreciate any help we can get in the children. Very, very, very much appreciate it. To send us notes, to send us letters, to write letters about how happy, how fortunate they are and thankful they are to be able to get the support from us, for them to want to learn. They want to learn. And I think they are going to be the future of our country, of Africa, Liberia.
Great.
So thank you for letting me be here, for talking on the show. I appreciate it, for telling you what I want to do. And and you can buy the book if you want the book. It's on Amazon. You can get my book on Amazon. It's on Amazon. That's what we're doing. Yeah, on Amazon.com. And it's also I'm trying to get an audio book of it, but and just put Liberia to the United States and the book will pop up.
Nice.
So I've been getting people going on and buying it.
All right, Gwen, thank you so much for coming in. And I'm going to put all that information in the chat for you guys. And plus you can go to Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. The information will be there. And make sure you get the book. Make sure you support and keep an eye out for what Gwen is doing. It's great stuff. Thank you so much, Gwen.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you giving me the platform to be able to talk about this. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Coffee Conversations with Greg J can be heard on a variety of Facebook pages, including Coffee Conversations with Greg J, Beach City Perspective, Beach City Radio. Check out those Facebook pages. We're also on YouTube. When you go on to YouTube, please like and subscribe. Just type in, look for a playlist, Coffee Conversations with Greg J, and you'll find us there on YouTube. You can also go to our website at Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com, and you'll be able to see this program here on the website there. We're also repurposing the audio, put it out as a podcast, and wherever you get your favorite podcast, we're there. Google, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart, well, Amazon, just wherever. Just type in Coffee Conversations with Greg J, and you'll get the audio version. All right. All right, y'all. Man, just please center yourself in love. It's a strenuous time right now. The struggle continues, but always to God be the glory. Peace and blessings.